Hi everyone, Scorp here. Today I wanted to show off a couple of decks for from some of the types that we played recently. I also just updated OBS, so I can't wait for that to break horrifically because it does every single time it updates. So without further ado, let's go ahead and go deal with some opponents real quick. Yeah, these decks should be... they're pretty decent. They're not absolutely incredible by any means, but they're basically what I would build for these types. So we're gonna start off with a Winged Beast deck, since we just got done with playing through as Winged Beast. Who do we want to play against? Ishtar's fun. She has a variety of things that are actually interesting to deal with. Yeah, let's see here. Nothing too... there shouldn't be anything too spectacular in this video, but maybe you guys will actually appreciate the spirit of the books being played in a more optimal manner rather than as a challenge. And I'm also going to do Reptiles and Toons since we just did those. And those are also interesting usually, so we drew really, really well here. But we'll see what we draw next turn before we decide what we're doing. That's going to be big. It's probably a twin-headed. It's at least an Aqua Dragon coming from her. We can check the equips. If it's a Horn of Light, it could be either, but... no, it is... yeah. That's a twin-headed. Let's see here. Yeah. We drew... okay. Not really what I was looking for, but it's fine. I would have liked to have drawn a Winged Beast. If we drew a Winged Beast, this is just completely over. Instead of just mostly over. There we go. Okay. We can go now. This will be... these are going to be exceedingly large. Very, very fast. And we drew the Magician of Fate, too. Okay. Sorry, Shizu, but this is what happens when the Spirit of the Books deck draws even remotely okay. Okay. Those get so big so fast with the darkness approaches, it's ridiculous. I believe I'm just going to throw a Heavy Storm and start going in. It might be a turn preemptive, but I don't think it's going to matter. Okay, Ishizu. I don't know what you could possibly do to live through this, but... yeah, I made 6,000 attack creatures and like 3 turns of flipping cards. I mean, yeah, it's pretty brutal. I mean, the deck did exactly what it's supposed to. It made really big Spirit of the Books really quickly. Oh, we got the triple on the Nyan. We got the Regeki. I remember farming for those as a kid, and it was super brutal to get the 3 in a row on Nyan. And then you get the Regeki and you realize that it's actually terrible. That was not a great time. So I'll go through the cards real quick. This could literally be any level 6 Wing Beast. There are no level 7s in this mod, so you only get -1 summoning power. -1 is plenty. You could also technically play a low summoning power one for open card. It doesn't have extended support range, so it's not quite as good. It's good enough. Darkness Approaches, bread and butter of the deck to flip your own cards down. You go infinite with the Magician of Faith, which revive spells. Why did they put Grave Robber on a 12 deck cost creature? I will never understand. Just broken. Bukus, because we need to fuse into them. Fiend Reflections. This is just one of the best effects that Winged Beasts have, so it's nice to have it. If you need to, you can switch this out for cheaper ones. But this is just nice. It also fuses into Spirit of the Books, so excellent card creature to have in here. So basically everything's just going to fuse with the Bukus, so you can make more Spirit of the Books. Spirit of the Books flips, makes another Buku. Buku flips, buffs the Spirit of the Books. You fuse off the Buku, you make another Spirit of the Books. It goes infinite really quick. Nuatori, really good effect that nobody ever uses. Doubling the healing of all cards and all sources is really strong. Nobody uses it because healing's so bad. But I mean, if you have 2 of these face up and you use a Soul of the Pure, it heals for 8,000. So it's ridiculous, and it fuses. So basically, the story of the Winged Beast in here, they fuse to make Spirit of the Books. And then you have Spirit of the Books, because 3 more Spirit of the Books is really good in a Spirit of the Books deck. Drollbirds. I have 1 Marvelous in here, or Mavelous. You could technically fuse into a Crimson Sunbird if you were desperate enough. But it also fuses in Spirit of the Books, so might as well. And then I'm using Mukas here instead of Jowls. If you find you have too many Winged Beasts, you could definitely cut some for like Jowls or something. But basically, by like turn 6 or 7, if your opponent actually manages to stop the first wave of Spirit of the Books, you've just like thrown 6 or 7 creatures into the graveyard at that point. And that makes this thing easily a 3,000 attack beat stick. I've definitely seen Muka on turn like 10 be an 8,000-9,000 attack creature. So definitely good to keep around in a deck that fuses as much as this and has complete disrespect for its creatures. 3 mountains. This, you probably don't need 3, but I like to change the terrain because it's a really good effect. Heavy Storm, super good. Soul of the Pure, excellent for healing. Follow Winds, Gust Fans, and Goblin Fan. You can definitely take out some mountains, put in Mimikatz, put in other really good spells, since you can recur them with Magician of Faith. So, like, tons of options with this deck, and its top end is ridiculous. Next we'll go to Reptiles. Reptiles are very similar to Winged Beast, except they don't go quite as hard as Winged Beasts do, unfortunately. But they are quite good. And their leader ability just destroys insects. So, can they really be that bad? If you think insects are going to be a tier 1 deck, like, you can just play Reptiles, and then they're no longer a tier 1 deck. Unfortunately, they don't really have field spell, so Burning Land it is. Neither player gets to have field advantage. Isn't that great? Now we have a whole bunch of leader powers. They don't really matter much. We'll just end up buffing a Serpent Marauder. It's fine. I could have just set down the Darkness Approaches this turn, but this is fine too. We really need to draw our Serpentine Princess. Hey, we drew a Serpentine Princess. Going to buff the Alligator too. This deck also takes advantage of this game's AI's lack of object permanence. It's like you're playing against a 3-year-old. Don't realize that you've buffed your creatures a whole bunch. They don't realize what their cards are after you flip them face down with the Darkness Approaches. So, yeah. The main problem with this deck is it takes a little bit of time to set up, which can very, very often get you killed. Thanks to our opponent for buffing our cards for us. Okay, that Brachiorytis is a little bit of a problem. It's a bit bigger than the Serpent Marauder. It is no longer bigger than the Serpent Marauder. I'm just going to do this. See how bad his object permanence is today. We can also see how bad his order lull is. Okay, not terrible, looks like. Not bad, not bad. Okay, bud. What do we got? Ooh, a Crocodilus. I technically should have checked my hand first, just to see if I drew a Serpentine Princess or something else. Didn't. Oh well. We'll just drop a Tears of the Mermaid over here. If it can paralyze something, that pretty much will just end the duel. It's one of the nice things about having a Tears of the Mermaid in your deck. You can just paralyze something and then go hunt it down while it can't move and can't really do anything. No, what do you have face down, bud? Oh, Grappler. Okay. Nothing of value. Cool. Yeah. Well, you see... 2100 is less than 2800. So... good day. Okay, so, I mean, it's not really the world's biggest deal to go beat up Rex Raptor. That's, not really an accomplishment. But this deck is, I mean, it showed what it wanted to do. It is a little bit slower at it than the Winged Beast deck. It's honestly just going to be one of the slowest decks in the game. But, I mean, its top end is infinite. It will go infinite, because triple Darkness Approaches, triple Magician of Faith, and Serpentine Princess is infinite stat. You have some actually decent leader abilities. The only one that I really ever care about is the Destroy Insect. But I believe it does mess up Aquas or something for Spellbind, I think. It's been a while since I've checked. You have to get down to level 1 for their low leader abilities, so it's usually not terribly worth it. But basically going through the deck, Darkness Approaches and Magician of Faith. Go infinite, play infinite cards, win game. This is the kind of deck that'll grind your opponent out. Serpent Marauder slows your opponent down. It doesn't work on leader powers, be careful about that. But this thing does cancel the movement effect from field, so that's nice. And card effects like King Tiger Wanku, I believe. Yeah, so Toon Alligator, it's a decent creature to buff, just in case you end up running into Toon or something. It's also got a pretty big rear end on it with a 1600 defense. So I don't really mind buffing it, and it's also Aqua, so it's easier to buff than Earth. Emperor of the Land and Sea is just like the biggest reptile, so 3 of those. Serpentine Princess for the buffs, and then we have Jowls because we're playing a slow deck. We need time, and this card is really good at getting you time because your opponent plays into it and then they lose the game. So they have to play around it, and you have to play around this deck hard. So some good spells here to start with. Mimicat, take away their fields, Heavy Storm for when you're actually going for the win. Don't really like Sebek's Blessing, probably the first card you could cut. But it buffs all your reptiles, so it's gotta be in here for a reptile deck for now. Raise Body Heat powers up your reptiles. Power of Kaishin for all of your water type reptiles, which is almost all of them in this deck, and then Megamorph because I wanted more buffs. And then Tears of the Mermaid and Goblin Fan. Unfortunately, these creatures are a little bit weak, so you can get run over. So you basically just need to play as much stuff as you can to stop your opponent from running you over. If you're going for higher deck cost, switch these tiers out for something like Mirror Forces, or Widespread Ruins, or literally anything that you can really slow your opponent down with. Gravity Binds work great. So yeah, that's reptiles. Now I'm just gonna show off my more optimized Toon deck. This is going to be very similar to the Toon deck that we played. We played a very powerful Toon deck to wipe the floor with the game. Yeah, we played a very strong Toon deck. Fiends have leader powers for increased strength, extended support range, and then decreased strength of spellcasters. So they basically just fully cancel out the powers of spellcasters. What's nice about Toons is they put down terrain change, so they make Toon Field, which is disgusting as leaders. So yeah, keep that in mind. It's pretty barbaric. I figured I'd just push that face down 1 space forward. Since I don't really want to do it, I want to do it 1 space further forward, or use the card. Make the Toon World! And then made more Toon this way. And we don't need Gust Fan in this matchup because he doesn't have Ruryoku or other direct damage. Just show, hey, we can fuse into Soul Hunter, and it's really, really good. Oh, hey, mystical elf. Goodbye. I even left my leader range, and it just... my stuff is just so big on Toon. He placed a legendary sword face down. This guy. So, eye armor is great on Toon, because if it gets flipped over while it's on Toon, it will copy the stats of the creature, and then it can move off of Toon and gain extra power. So if I do this, this creature is going to be at 4,700 when it hits this blue eyes, even though it copied at 3,700. Because it moved from Toon, where it was weak, onto Sogan, but it copied the stats while it was on Toon. Which is really broken and really good. But yeah, I don't know what Kaiba's gonna do about this. This is GG's in chat. If that's a blue eyes, that's great. Good for him. He's still dead. So yeah, I mean, this was a pretty vicious style of deck. Yeah. Not too much to say about Toons. You draw Toon World, you play Toon World, and then you play Toons, and you win the game. Great. Absolutely awesome play pattern. Hey, a 3 in a row. Oh, 1,000 Dragon. But yeah, these decks are, like, if you used any one of these decks, card for card, you could easily get through the entire game. It wouldn't really be close. And this would be the fastest of the decks that I showed. We drew the 1 of Eye Armor. So basically, Bakuri Box is the leader. You could technically use, like, I don't know. Just use Bakuri Box. Use a level 6 or higher Fiend, or 5, that has Toon change. Like, just do that. Let's save yourself the pain. Bakuri Box looks good enough anyways. So first off, we have 9 creatures, minus this Eye Armor, that can be fused with reptiles to make Soul Hunter. Showed off that fusion. 3 Toon Summon Skulls, and then, you know, 9 reptiles to do the other half of that fusion. And then we have an Eye Armor because it's really good on Toon. We have some Jowls. You can switch around the number of Eye Armors and Jowls to your heart's content. Doesn't really matter. They are both really, really broken. So use as many of each as you want to. Immortals just don't have natural counters, so I like Jowls a lot. And this thing's disgusting. 3 copies of Toon World because we want to play on Toon Terrain, because Toon Terrain is really, really good when you have bonus on Toon Terrain and your opponent doesn't. Heavy Storm is in all of these decks today just because it's great for triggering the field before you go for lethal. Soul of the Pure just in case you take over Ryoku or something. And then a bunch of equips, because we can put 9 equips in here because Fiends take so many equips. I'm a Goblin fan because I hate Ryoku. So yeah, that's the deck. Or decks. And I mean, these go pretty hard. I mean, there are things that you can change to make them cost more or less deck cost, but they're all very good and very solid for going through the game. So, yeah. That's gonna do it for today. Thank you all for watching, and have a nice day. Also, don't forget to like and comment if you enjoyed.